rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.
Good morning, all my fine fellow people out there today. Good Lord Almighty. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't realize that I had set the wrong damn time on that. It happens. It happens. I talked with Max for a little bit last night and was setting up the stream, and I just set it for whatever random time. My gosh, I was going to go to bed, then noticed it's time for Shizzy. Yeah, I hope you guys didn't stay up all night just waiting for me to come on, because I'm sorry about that. My happy ass was sleeping. Sorry. Oh my gosh, what a day. What a day. Oopsie. Yeah, oopsie. Good morning, Nanny Goat. Good to see you, Stormy. Debbie Webb. Tammy Bugard, how you doing? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was crazy. I got up this morning and turned on the stream, Lord, and I'm like, showtime. I was like, wait, did I oversleep? Like, no, I just set the wrong time. It happens. What can I say? Oh geez. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I did. She stayed up all day. No, that's not fun. Can I chop off my arm? No chopping of body parts. No chopping of body parts. That would be a bad thing to do. No, I slept really good last night. Man, oh man. I needed a little rest. It's been a busy past couple of days, not just with the YouTube stuff, but just, work and life, 3D. Oh man, Thanksgiving's coming up. It's right around the corner. I mean, it seems just like yesterday we had Halloween, Of course, this weekend, I don't know. Sometimes this is like the weekend that my wife and I will go and get a tree, but then we may just wait till next weekend after the mother-in-law has left and she's heading back to Florida and kicking back and relaxing, and then we might go and get a tree. My wife likes to decorate the tree by herself, and she'll usually watch It's a Wonderful Life and have a good time with that. So that's usually what happens with that. Hey AJ, good to see you. YouTube typically doesn't give you notifications, but I got yours. Yeah, yeah. If you set it for the wrong time, it does that. It's strange how that happens. Biden has become notably quiet after the 2024 election and the massive Democrat loss. Well, why would he do that? Well, he wasn't too loud before then. Joe Biden has been notably quiet since the Democrats' gut-wrenching defeat at the polls. Well, and I would suspect that you wouldn't have heard much from Trump after this also. I mean, they probably would have been fighting the lawsuits, and those would have been the big talk. Well, that sucks, Tammy. Can't have a real tree. Yeah, my wife and I one year she decided she wanted to get an extra Christmas tree, like one of those pre-lit Christmas trees, just a small one. And she wanted to put it out in our sun porch. You know, she really enjoys that. It's like it makes her very happy. And then we get a regular live tree for the front part of the house. Those things got just expensive, ridiculous expensive. But if it makes her happy, then what can I say? We'll do it. After warning voters for years that Donald Trump's would be camel toe-icious, camel toe-licious for American democracy, Biden has gone largely silent on his concerns about what lays ahead for Americans that he has yet to be substantially let's put it this way. He hasn't reflected on what Democrats were defeated up and down the ballot. Doesn't matter. Joe Biden doesn't really care. His only discussion of the outcome of the election came in a roughly 6-minute speech in the Rose Garden 2 days after the election that nobody really watched, when he urged people to see each other not as adversaries, but as fellow Americans, bring down the temperature. Well, he said that beforehand, and the temperature was not on the right. It's on the left. And do you think they're going to calm down? No. Do you think they're going to chill out? No. They're going to go even heavier. They're going to go harder. They're going to go much worse than you had before. Much worse than you had before, because now they're thinking it's the glove. They're going to start going off even more, and it's not going to get much better. And this was sent to me by the Daily Wire. Check this out.
This in support of this organization called the Cajun Navy. People are frustrated and upset with FEMA's response, maybe rightly so, maybe not rightly so. But it seems to me that this nonprofit known as the Cajun Navy can get in the game immediately, make changes on the fly that impact people's lives. They don't have to go through a bunch of red tape and cry, we don't have people, we don't have money. They get people and equipment to the site on time and make a difference. And quite honestly, that's what FEMA should be doing. So maybe FEMA should go talk to the Cajun Navy and say, why can't we do what you're doing? What do we got to change here to do that? With that, I yield, and I now recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Garrett, Representative Garrett.
Imagine that's the thought right there. It was like, what is going on in North Carolina? Hey, Joe, you're going to be in Raleigh? Raleigh? No, really? No, Raleigh. Really? No, Raleigh. Yes, Raleigh in over the holidays. You're not even sure you're going to be putting up a tree. My wife still wants a tree up. We're usually out of town for the holidays, but she still likes the tree up. It's crazy. She just loves it. Absolutely loves it. Biden is just looking forward to his next pudding pop. And who was it that I saw? Oh yeah, hey bloke, Australia. I've loved your commentary on all the fuckery, the hills, and everything else. Well, gone to the dogs. Wait till you see what I start showing. Wait till I start showing the New Zealand deck cleaner. Then you might not like me so much. Oh yes, I can get wild, but thank you. No, I do cover quite a bit of the hail stuff because I find it interesting, and I see the fuckery going on there. So I appreciate your views. I really do. This is a fun part. This is the fun part. Happy Thursday, everyone. It's good morning in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Yeah, there's a reason why Joe's being quiet. And as much as they want to talk about this, as much as they want to talk about how they're how's the best description about this? Joe's being very silent. Well, remember.
Вибачте, без зайвих деталей. У України є далекобійні можливості, у України є далекобійні дрони свого власного виробництва. У нас тепер є
And now we have long
Нептун,
Neptune, and
і не
more than
один.
one.
І тепер у нас є Атакамс.
And now we have
І ми все
ATA,
це будемо.
CMS, and we will
Вибачте,
use
без
them.
зайвих
So
деталей.
no unnecessary
України
details.
є далекобійні
Ukraine
можливості.
has long-range
України є
capabilities.
далекобійні дрони свого власного виробництва. У нас
That
тепер є довгий
That right there should be worrying you. That would be why Biden has been very quiet on all of this. That is why he's been quiet on all of this. His only public discussion of the outcome election came after a 6-minute address in the Rose Garden, bring down some of the temperature. Since then, he's hardly been a public peep, including over the course of 6-day visit to South America that concluded on Tuesday evening, where he got, just a few spinal cords. And his only public comment during the trip came during brief remarks before meetings with government officials and a climate-related speech during a visit to the Amazon. And a delicate moment in the U.S. and for the world, Biden's silent may be leaving a vacuum, but his public reticence has also underscored a new reality. America and the rest of the world are already moving on. His race is over. His day is done. And David Axelrod, who served as a senior advisor in the Obama-Biden White House, it's up to a new generation of leaders to chart a path forward, as I'm sure they will. Yeah. You're not tired? Not from loss of sleep, but time's worn me out. That happens. The last time a president left office so irrelevant or rejected by the populace was Jimmy Carter. Referring to the last one-term Democrat in the White House, history has allowed for the great habilitation of Carter, in part because all he did in his post-presidency at 82. I'm not sure Biden has the luxury of time. The longer he waits, the longer he can't find something to say. He risks shaping his legacy, at least in how he's seen in the near term. Biden allies say the president, like Democrats writ at large, is privately processing the election defeat. Doesn't mean that Biden isn't particularly stewing over the results, as he doesn't say much in public. And notably this week, Biden left it to allies Emmanuel Macron of France and Justin Trudeau of Canada to offer public explanations of his critical decision to loosen restriction on Ukraine's use of longer-range American weapons and its war with Russia. And there's the crux of why he's not there. Every international meeting I attend, Biden said after a trip in September to January, they pull me aside one leader after the other quietly and say, Joe, he can't win. My democracy is at stake. His voice rising bed and said, America walks away. Who will lead the world? Who will name me a country? It's not our job to be the world police or to continue on with this crap right here. Ukraine says Russia launched an ICBM in an attack for the first time in the war. Ukraine says Russian launched an intercontinental ballistic missile overnight targeting a city in the central east of the country, which, if confirmed, would be the first time Moscow has used a missile in the war, or such a missile in the war. In a statement Thursday, in a telegram messaging up, Ukraine's Air Force did not specify the exact type of missile, but said it launched from Russian Astrakhan region that borders the Caspian Sea. It said the ICBM was fired at this Dnipro city, along with 8 other missiles, and the Ukrainian military shot down 6 of them. Mm-hmm. 2 people were wounded as a result of the attack. The industrial facility and the rehabilitation center for people with disabilities were damaged, according to local officials. While the range of an ICBM would seem excessive for use against Ukraine, such missiles were designed to carry nuclear warheads, and the use of one would serve as a chilling reminder nuclear's capabilities of the Russians, and a powerful message of potential escalation. Good morning, everyone. Snow fell last night. Excellent. Glad you got a little bit there. Wonder why they would be practicing with ICBMs. I had to cut this article off. Yeah. No, they said that they didn't go completely on that. They said that they fired, confirmed, and let's see, along with 8 other missiles. Missile was fired. So one ICBM along with 8 missiles. So there was 8. There's 9 altogether. 9. And they said that they shot down 6 of them. Yeah. So it says they fired a total of 9 and shot down 6 of them. Russian Defense Ministry said the statement on Thursday its air defense systems shot down 2 British-made Storm Shadow missiles, 6 HIMARS rockets, and 67 drones. The announcement came in the ministry daily roundup regarding the military actions in Ukraine. The statement didn't say when or where exactly this happened or what missiles were targeting, but the Moscow's first public announcement, the shooting down of Storm Shadow missiles, as Russia earlier reported downing some over the annexed Crimea Peninsula. Frick me. The development came as the war has taken on a growing international dimension with the arrival of North Korean troops. This is not an international dimension. This has been going on the whole time, and nothing has changed. Putin has previously warned U.S. and other NATO allies that allowing Ukraine to use Western supply longer-range weapons to hit Russian territory would mean that Russia and NATO are at war. And the new doctrine allows potential nuclear response by Moscow, even to a conventional attack on Russia by any nation that is supported by a nuclear power. While the doctrine envisions a possible nuclear response by Russia in a conventional strike, it is formulated broadly to avoid a firm commitment to use nuclear weapons and keep Putin's options open, I think is what I meant to say. Yeah. So why do you think Biden's been quiet again? What is it? What is it? Do you not think that they're ramping this stuff up? Because almost all the headline news that you're going to read from the mainstream media, it would be justifying our reasons for going into Ukraine and how much we're sending. $275 million in new weapons to push to bolster Kyiv before Trump. The Pentagon will send Ukraine at least $275 million in new weapons, including an undisclosed number of anti-personnel landmines. Did not we not learn from wars past? As the Biden administration rushes to do as much as it can to help Kyiv fight against the Russia before Donald Trump takes office. The latest tranche of weapons comes as worries grow about an escalation in the conflict, with both sides pushing to gain any advantage they can exploit if Trump demands a quick end to the war, and he has vowed to do. I would generally discount any war reporting for a stakeholder in this war. It could have been 20 missiles or 2. Yeah, because we've heard some different reports coming out. Like there was the Ghost of Kiev, and there was how many Russian tanks were destroyed along the roads, and it's been very much a big puddle of disinformation. It just makes you want to get out the paper, smack the puppy dog on the nose, and say bad dog. But that's where we're at with this crap. The amount of misinformation, the amount of disinformation has been coming out of the White House, out of Ukraine, out of Russia. You don't know what exactly is the truth in all of this. Both sides are vying for power, and it's not going to end well if they keep up with their shenanigans. Nope, in the middle of USA. He probably doesn't know what's going on. That's why they have him out of the country. Where's Camel Toe? Look under any desk. I'm sure you'll find her there somewhere. Just yeah, you notice how she disappeared into the background very quietly and promptly. We will continue to provide Ukraine the support it needs to succeed on the battlefield and prevail against. But it's no, Ukraine has turned itself into becoming the aggressor. Jesus. Damn, AP, why can't you get your crap right? U.S. officials contend that Russia's change in nuclear doctrine was expected. Why? Because you ramped up this shit? That's why? It was going to become a big freaking deal. U.S. officials contend that Russia's change in the doctrine was expected, but Moscow's warning that Ukraine's use of the Army tactical missile systems known as attack inside Russia on Tuesday could trigger a stronger response. One American official said the U.S. is seeing no indications that Russia is preparing to use a nuclear weapon in Ukraine. Really? They just fired off, according to you, an intercontinental ballistic missiles that are designed to carry nuclear warheads. And you say, nah, they're not ramping anything up. I mean, one seems certainly to be doing their test launches on ICBMs, which is just a wee bit unsettling. Exactly. As Tuesday, if Ukraine attack and longer-range U.S. missiles could potentially trigger the use of these weapons, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov answered affirmatively. Another U.S. official said Ukraine fired 8 of these missiles into Russia on Tuesday, and just 2 were intercepted. The official said the U.S. is still assessing the damage, but the missiles struck an ammunition supply location in Kharkov and the Bryansk region. And the U.S. official spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss intelligence. Yeah, there is lack of intelligence. How's that? Weapons in the new package for aid for Ukraine include, for the first time, anti-personnel landmines that are not persistent, meaning they are electrically fused and powered by batteries. As a result, once the battery runs out, they will no longer detonate, unlike the ones used by Russia, which do not become inert and remain a threat to civilians for decades. Oh, so once the battery dies on it, well, what's the life of a battery on one of these? That'd be a question I'd want to know. I mean, is the half-life 50 years, 20 years? I mean, tell me something. Trump's incoming move to the White House has triggered a scramble by Biden administration to ensure congressionally approved funds for Ukraine gets delivered and that Kiev is in a strong position going into the winter. It's going to be a cold winter. Well, the good thing is you won't have to break out any of the body bags until afterwards because they'll all be frozen to the ground. Jeez, man. The Biden administration would have to rush $7.1 billion in weapons from the Pentagon stockpiles to spend all of those funds before Trump is sworn in. That includes $4.3 billion from foreign aid bill passed by Congress. Earlier this year, and the $2.8 billion still on the books in savings due to the Pentagon's recalculating value of the system sent. This does not sound good. Asked if the department can get that done before January 20th, when Trump takes office, Pentagon spokesman Sabrina Singed said officials are working to get Ukraine what it needs. Other words, we are ramping this shit up to get weapons to Ukraine to make it as difficult on the incoming president to get this stuff handled. Oh, do you think the spending is done there? They want to deplete our stockpile of weapons. In contrast to the drawdown, the government in Ukraine will pay for those supplies. Ukraine, State Department said Tuesday that authorized the sale to Ukraine of $100 million in unspecified defense equipment and services. Part of the wider effort to boost Ukraine, the administration is also on track to disperse its portion of a $50 billion loan to Ukraine. So they've increased it, backed by frozen Russian assets, which is not good. Before Biden leaves the White House, according to senior administration officials who were not authorized, which they can't touch the frozen assets. That's the thing. America can't touch it. Europe can't touch it. Nobody can touch those frozen assets. Can someone clue me in on a good morning fetish? Oh my God. I'm telling you, this is crazy. What we need is we need to get some happiness in here. This war bullshit is going to be nuts. Oh, yeah. I think I found a good palate cleanser. Here we go.
14 is a lot for television, so I want to just go right down the list quickly and have you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Keep them or abolish them. Department of Agriculture.
Abolish.
Gone. Department of Commerce.
Abolish.
Gone. Department of Defense.
Keep.
Keep it. Department of Education.
Abolish.
Gone. Energy.
Abolish.
Housing.
Except that energy ties in with the military.
Well, then we shove it under defense.
That's
the little
right.
bit that handles the nuclear,
Right. That ought to go under
plutonium and
defense.
so forth goes under defense, but we abolish the rest of it. Health and Human Services.
There is room for some public health activities to prevent contagion. Such a thing as, for example,
So you'd keep the National Institutes of Health, say, and the Center for Disease Control down
not
in
the
Atlanta?
National Institute.
Oh,
No,
no?
those are mostly research agencies. No, that's a question of whether the government should be involved in financing research.
And the answer is no.
Well, that's a very complicated issue, and it's not an easy answer with respect to that.
We'll eliminate half of the Department of Health
Yeah,
and Human
something
Services?
like that.
Okay, one half. There we go. Housing and Urban Development?
Out.
Oh, didn't even pause over that one. Department of the Interior?
Oh, well, but housing and urban development has done an enormous amount of harm. My God. If you think of the way in which they've destroyed parts of cities under the rubric of eliminating slums.
Jack Kemp.
You
is-
know,
Go ahead.
you remember, and Martin Anderson wrote a book on the federal bulldozer describing the effect of the urban development. There have been many more dwelling units torn down in the name of public housing than have been built.
Jack Kemp has proposed selling to the current inhabitants of public housing their unit, their townhouse, their apartment for $1 a piece, and just shifting the ownership to
And
the people who live.
if you got rid of the Department of Housing and Urban Development, it would be worth doing that.
All right, done. That's gone. Department of the Interior, your beloved National Park Service.
Well, given that the problem there is, you first have to sell off all the land that the government owns. But that's what you should do.
But it could be done pretty quickly.
It could be done.
The whole
You
series of
should do
auctions.
that. There's no reason
All
for
right.
government to own. The government now owns something like 1/3 of all the land in the country.
And that's too much. Should go down to zero.
Should go down to, well, not entirely zero. They ought to own the land on which government buildings are.
Okay, terrific. Department of Justice,
Oh, yes.
keep that one.
Keep that one.
Labor,
No.
gone. State,
Keep.
keep it. Transportation,
Gone.
gone. The Treasury,
You have to keep it to collect taxes.
all right, collect taxes through the Treasury. Veterans Affairs,
You can regard the veteran affairs as a way of
Military.
paying essentially salaries for services of those who have been in the armed force. But you ought to be able to get rid of it.
you should be able to
by just
pay it off.
Pay it off.
pay off lump sums, perhaps.
right.
And just get rid of it. Okay, Milton Friedman, if you are made dictator for one day, the next day, the American government.
No, I don't want to be made dictator.
I don't want to be.
I don't believe in dictators.
Okay.
I believe we want
There
to
you
bring about change by the agreement of the citizens. I don't believe in arbitrary rule.
Let me put it this way then.
If we can't persuade the public that it's desirable to do these things, we have no right to impose them, even if we had the power to do it.
All right. From 14 departments down to
To
four,
its
four and a
basic
half.
fundamental
Four and a half.
functions. What are its fundamental functions? Preserve the peace, defend the country.
All right.
Provide a mechanism whereby individuals can adjudicate their disputes. That's the Justice
Department.
Protect individuals from being coerced by other individuals. The police function.
Right.
And now, this is both the central government and the state and local governments. The police function is primarily local and central.
Right.
And those are the fundamental functions of government, in my opinion.
Milton Friedman, thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. Spoken by a very, very wise man a long time ago. So I don't know if you saw the latest X launch, space launch, but this here is quite impressive. Quite impressive as this rocket ship falls back to Earth. Oh my gosh, this one's going to freak you out. It's going to freak you out all to get out. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh, whoa. It fell. I was wondering how many people would get that one and have it fall on you. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, and yes. They will continue having attacks against our government officials. Good morning, y'all. Yeah, it got me. You see it falling, you're like, no. And let's hire Shizzy for the Department of Coffee and Entertainment. Oh God, no. I wouldn't want to work for the government. Yeah, at first I thought it was a real rocket. Yep, that does happen. It does happen. Perception is everything. Perception is everything. Police report reveals assault allegations against Hedseth. Santa Cruz, California. Woman told police that she was SA'd in 2017 by Pete after he took her phone, blocked the door to her California hotel room, refused to let her leave, according to a detailed investigative report made public Wednesday. They really do not like Hedseth. Hedseth, a Fox News personality and President-elect Donald Trump's nominee to be defense secretary, told police at the time that the encounter had been consensual and denied any wrongdoing. News of the allegation surfaced last week when local officials released a brief statement confirming that a woman had accused him of SA in October of 2017 after he had spoken at a Republican women's event in Monterey. Hedseth's lawyer did not immediately respond, and never should he respond to this false allegation, because that right there would be very important. If there's an allegation, they are considered innocent until proven guilty, so therefore it would make it a false allegation. For comment early on Thursday, he said Hedseth paid the woman in 2023 to head off the threat of a baseless lawsuit. Now, this 22-page police report was released in response to public health records request and offers the first detailed account what the woman alleged to have transpired, one that is at odds with his version of events. The report cited police interviews with the alleged victim, a nurse who treated her, a hotel staffer, and another woman at the event, and Hedseth. The woman's name was not released, which they shouldn't. The police spokesman for the Trump transition said early Thursday that the report corroborates what Mr. Hedseth's attorneys have said all along. The incident was fully investigated and no charges were filed because police found that the allegations to be false. The report does not say that police found the allegations were false. Police recommended that the case report be forwarded to the Monterey County District Attorney's Office for review. Now, you also have to ask, when were these times that they did this? Investigators were first alerted to it, the report said, by a nurse who called them after the patient requested an SA exam. The patient told medical personnel she believed she was assaulted 5 days earlier, but couldn't remember much about what happened. The pudding pops. Yeah, I don't believe this at all. She reported something may have been slipped into her drink before ending up in the hotel room where she said the assault occurred. Police collected the unwashed dress underwear she had worn that night. The report said the woman's partner, who was staying at the hotel with her, told police he was worried about her that night after she didn't come back to the room at 2 a.m. He went to the hotel bar, but she wasn't there. She made it back a few hours later, apologizing that she must have fallen asleep. This, to me, sounds like regret. Sounds to me like some woman came on to him and then just used the excuse of, oh, I must have fallen asleep. A few days later, she told him she had been SA'd. The woman who helped organize the Southern California Federation of Republican Women gathered at which, while Hegseth spoke, told police that she had witnessed the TV anchor acting inappropriately throughout the night and saw him stroking multiple women's thighs. She texted a friend that Hegseth was giving off a creeper vibe, according to the report. After the event, the woman and others attended an after party at a hotel suite where she said she confronted him, telling him that she did not appreciate how he treated women. See, all of this sounds just made up bull. This stinks to high hell. Normally, if something is like that, a woman's generally not going to confront a guy like that. They're gonna have a guy confront him. Don't blame. I don't believe this story for a second either, Volstorm. A group of people, including Hegseth and a woman, decamped at the hotel's bar. That's when things got fuzzy. The woman told police she remembered having a drink at the bar with Hegseth and others. She was probably trashed anyway. The police report states she also told police that she argued with Hegseth near the hotel pool. Okay, that makes no sense at all. An account that is supported by a hotel staffer who was sent to handle the disturbance and spoke to the police. So she's saying that it got fuzzy, but she remembers arguing by the hotel pool. If she went blank, unless we have toxicology proof he did it. Exactly. Next. Well, it was World's Men's Day this week, and they got this BS. Yeah. Morning, Natalie. Morning. Morning, Malin. How you doing? So soon she told police she was inside the hotel room, who took her phone and blocked the door with his body so that she could not leave. She said, I remember saying no a lot. Her next memory was laying on a couch or a bed with Hegseth hovering over her bare chest, his dog tags dangling over her, the report states. Hegseth served in the National Guard, rising to the rank of major. Next thing she remembered, see, something just is not adding up here. She says that after Hegseth finished, she recalled him asking if she was okay. She told police she did not recall how she got back to her hotel room and had since suffered from nightmares of memory loss. At the time this alleged assault, Hegseth, now 44, was going through a divorce with his second wife, with whom he has 3 children. She filed for divorce after he had a child with a Fox News producer who is now his wife, according to the court records and social media posts by Hegseth. His first marriage ended in 2009, also after infidelity by Hegseth. Yeah, this isn't making a whole lot of sense, because generally guys that are this way, this is what really gets them off. Yeah, it's if this was the case, this wouldn't be his first or his last. Yeah, so this, like I said, something's not adding up with all of this. Hegseth said he attended the after party and drank beer, but did not consume liquor, but acknowledged being buzzed, but not drunk. Yeah, feeling good, feeling high, but not like gone. He said that he met the woman at the hotel bar. She led him by the arm back to his hotel room, which surprised him because he initially had no intention of having sex with her. Hegseth told investigators that the sexual encounter that followed was consensual, added that he explicitly asked more than once if she was comfortable. Hegseth said in the morning the woman showed early signs of regret. Yeah, and probably because she was there with her partner, and her partner was thinking he was going to get some ass, but yeah, he woke up at 2:00 in the morning. Why? See, none of this makes sense. Like, if she's there with some guy and I wake up in the right place, I can handle a few, but put yourself in this type of situation. Yeah, Debbie got home last night. I don't know. Oh. All right. Hegseth attorney said, I think maybe he meant to say, dude, this is why you got to stop. That's one reason. Hedseth told investigators that sexual encounter had followed was consensual. Hedseth's attorney said a payment was made to the woman as part of a confidential settlement a few years after the police investigation because Hedseth was concerned that she was prepared to file a lawsuit that he feared would have resulted in him being fired from Fox News, where he was a popular host. The attorney would not reveal the amount of the payment. Yeah, this is it's ridiculous. You're out drinking. Someone wants to drug your hot friend. You go to the bathroom. He gets the friend to distract you. Come back to a roofie cola. Unknowingly, you're toast. Yes, that does happen. We have a coffee break soon. Pleasey Weezy. Yeah, we probably will here. I try to do one, sometimes two. But yeah, we do need a little bit of coffee break because my coffee has gotten cold and empty. So I've got some great news coming in from PJ Media this morning. I think you're gonna like it quite a bit. So yes, we will be taking a short coffee break, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes. Enjoy the music.
Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dawn night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We live in pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. We talk and Shizzy when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We live in pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screens, and inside jokes and endless memes. In Shizzy when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We'll live in pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screens, to inside jokes and endless memes. We type our hearts, we spam the love. Our chat rooms like a lit up club. Our chat rooms like a lit up club. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We'll live in pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. Ooh, yeah, we come together night and day. We laugh, we play in our own way. A family in a cyberspace, loving hearts in this virtual place. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We'll live in pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream.
Oh, and this next story, oh my gosh, this next story is going to surprise you, but probably not if you've been here long enough. Children's Hospital furious that people know what they're doing to kids. Stay away from the kids, please. Cincinnati Children's Hospital has reportedly warned staff not to talk to anyone about the fact that they support incredibly harmful treatments for youth. It's incontrovertible biological fact that one cannot alter one's biological sex, and scientific studies in medical practice increasingly demonstrate how psychologically and painfully, physically harmful it is to pretend that this is real. Mhm. Hospitals make lucrative profits off of turning kids into what they call so-called treatments, and Cincinnati Children's Hospital is reportedly among them. The majority of transformers are depressed, especially transformed minors. Cross-sex hormones are tied to self-deletion, ideation, but not only do hormone treatments and surgeries provide no mental health benefits, but a Swedish study previously found that transformers had 19 times the rate of completed self-deletions and nearly 3 times the rate of an all-cause mortality in inpatient psychiatric care compared to the general population. Among the severe long-term side effects of puberty blockers are permanently retarded bone growth. Now, I didn't say like bobbly wobbly, but retarded bone growth, infertility, and the potentially retarded brain development. And at least 4 out of 5 children with this gender dysphoria naturally will grow out of it. In many cases, transformer treatments were prescribed and pushed without any long-term studies or evidence to support their alleged benefits. Cincinnati's Children's Hospital provides transformer treatments to patients from childhood to age 25, according to Stop the Harm, which runs a database quantifying and exposing hospitals that promote damaging and transformer ideology. Cincinnati's Children's Living with Change Center has 396 patients trying to change their sex, 27 surgery patients, 372 hormone and puberty blocker patients, 3,551 prescriptions written, and $799,000 total submitted charges. In other words, in exchange for big fat profits, this children's hospital that boasts about being a top hospital for kids is permanently mutilating and injuring young people's bodies. I agree with this. Absolutely disgusting. Nor does Cincinnati's Children's Hospital want this cash cow to dry up. Libs at TikTok shared a screenshot on November 18th that apparently the hospital's website, which includes the transformer flag and warning against communication with Stop the Harm in any way, incidentally, the transformer flag, which the Children's Hospital proudly displayed, was designed by a sex-obsessed fetishist, pedophilic-leaning freak who specifically chose the blue and pink colors of the flag because of their association with babies. No one should trust this hospital to care for children, as it literally promotes a symbol of the PDF files. Yeah, so wrong. We believe all young people should have access to comprehensive, developmentally appropriate health care provided in a safe and inclusive environment. Our Transformer Health Center provides evidence-based care within the boundaries of the state law. These surgeries on minors are not performed at children's. If you see one of the Stop the Harm database mobile billboards or protesters in Cincinnati's children's owned or leased property, please contact Dispatch Command Center. If you are approached by a member of the media or someone from one of these other misinformation networks, please refer them to our media relations team. Again, the objective studies and the evidence indicate that transformer treatments are incredibly harmful to children. And of course, scientifically speaking, it's utterly impossible to alter one's biological sex. Stunting growth, taking the opposite sex hormones, or cutting off body parts does not change one's DNA. But it does have long-lasting negative consequences, which sometimes turn deadly. The only misinformation is coming from Cincinnati's Children's Hospital and the Transformer activists, not from the concerned patients, journalists, and medical professionals who are exposing the horrible abuse of minors via minor transformer surgery. And there's people out there that think that's okay. People out there that are believing that this is okay. It's very disturbing. I've got something funny for you.
I am not gay. I am straight. I'm straight. I like women only.
It's a fake, okay? It's a deep fake. Just so you guys know, it's a deep fake.
Men. I am not gay. There's nothing wrong with being gay. But I'm not.
Oh my God, that comes out. That's like I said, that is a meme. That is a meme. Just so you know, that was done by the meme team. That was done by the meme team. So just trying to make fun here, because that comes on the wings of this right here. Sarah McBride. I'm not here to fight about the bathrooms. I'm here to fight for all Delawareans and bring down the cost facing families. Like all members, I will follow the rules as outlined by Speaker Johnson, even if I disagree with them. This effort to distract from the real issues facing this country hasn't distracted me over the last several days, as I've remained hard at work preparing to represent the greatest state of the union come January. Serving the 119th Congress will be the honor of a lifetime, and I continue to look forward to getting to know my future colleagues on both sides of the aisle. Each of us were sent here because voters saw something in us that they value. I have loved getting to see these qualities in the future colleagues that have met, and I look forward to seeing those qualities in every member come January. I hope all of my colleagues will seek to do the same. Yeah, that's welcome to your new representation. If you think that they represent you, well, there you go. There you go. That's the thought that this person represents you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here you
I will
go.
do right to my loved ones, to my community. I will just try to live with passion, supporting unity. I will not change for anyone, won't cave to bigotry. I will find warmth, hold on to hope even beneath the sea. There's an ocean, we are the children, down beneath these crashing waves of hate. There's a mad storm that hangs over our heads, destroying faster than we can create. I've been through this enough times before to know I'll just suffocate holding my breath. Will we always be so divided? I'm sure we will even after our deaths. I can do right to my loved ones, to my community. I can just try to live with passion, supporting unity. I will not change for anyone, won't cave to bigotry. I will find warmth, hold on to hope even beneath the sea. I'm not gonna stop caring, scream or drink or cry. The system's always broken, I know what it's like. Did my part, it did nothing like it often does. No need in crying for the world that never was. I'm not gonna stop caring, scream or drink or cry.
Enough of that. Do you know what that is? This is the kind of crap that's being posted over on Bluesky. This is torture. Oh, that's why I pulled it off, because it's absolute torture. You can't sing, you can't write, and you can't dress. Shut the F up. It's official. Shizzy hates us. Oh, morning. What in the world did you just watch? You watched where everybody was fleeing to Bluesky. That's where everybody is fleeing to. They're jumping ship. They're heading out. They're leaving. I mean, you've got Ellen DeGenerate. She's took her happy ass to go and leave and live in England. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. You're going to love this next one.
This could be very harmful. There'd be one thing if this guy had a reputation as, one, an extraordinarily gifted legislator, two, a tremendously gifted trial attorney, a proven prosecutor, somebody who had managed a big law firm and had demonstrated legal ability. But no, he has none of those attributes. In fact, he has a reputation on the floor of the House for having shown pictures of his conquest to his fellow members. So if that's the best you can do, you're not going to get confirmed. This could be very harmful. There'd be one thing if this guy had a reputation as, one, an
Yeah. Ellen DeGeneres, sad news. Ellen DeGeneres has left the building. It's hard to count the number of celebrities who promised to leave this country if Donald Trump was reelected this month, but counting how many actually made good on their promise is a little easier. As far as we know, the number is, well, one. Thank you. Karl Rove is an establishment shill. Absolutely, he is. The Wrap reported earlier today that comedian talk show host Ellen DeGeneres and her wife, Portia de Rossi, moved to rural England where they bought their home in the Cotswolds, which Cotswolds is beautiful. If you've never been to the Cotswolds, it's freaking beautiful. A while ago, they're officially saying goodbye to the United States. Soon, they will put up their Montecito estate on the market. Sources close to the couple claim that Trump's election was driving force behind their decision. Please keep going. England will be happy to have you. Of course, we all watched in recent years as a 66-year-old DeGeneres went from one of the most beloved people on television to sex. She got kicked out of show business in her Netflix comedy special For Your Approval. The special, which was released in September, is said to be her final performance. Thank God. DeGeneres is the most noteworthy of hosting her talk show, The Ellen DeGeneres Show, from 2003 to 2022. She won numerous awards for her work, including 30 Daytime Emmys. However, things went a little sour in July of 2020. 10 former employees came forward and claimed that things weren't quite as happy behind the scenes as they were in front of the camera. Staff members called the sect toxic. They made claims of racism, sexual harassment, abuse, fear, microaggressions, and intimidation. That be kind bullshit only happens when the cameras are on. It's all for show, one of them told BuzzFeed. Before that, podcaster Kevin T. Porter called DeGeneres one of the meanest people alive and was shocked when many Twitter now X users came forward and shared their own mean Ellen stories. While Warner Brothers conducted an internal investigation, DeGeneres sent a memo to her staff on day one of our show. I told you in the first meeting that the Ellen DeGeneres Show would be a place of happiness. No one would ever raise their voice and everyone would be treated with respect. Obviously, something changed, and I'm disappointed to learn that this has not been the case. And for that, I am sorry. Anyone who knows me knows it's opposite of what I believe and what I hoped for our show. But it was too little too late. In July 24, DeGeneres announced that she was retiring from the entertainment world after the release of her September special. This is the last time you're going to see me, she said during a stand-up show in Santa Rosa, California. It's no secret the culture is lined up against the truth. That's why it's important to support truth tellers like all of the talented writers here at PJ Media. The way you can do is becoming a VIP member. There you go. And there is, I believe, a 60% off thing. All you got to do is put in fight and you can get that. Portia has her own stories about Ellen. Yeah, she's a monster and deserves to return back to the crown. Exactly. Send her on. She should change her citizenship. I agree. Please do. All of these people that said if Trump was going to be elected, I need to be just packing up. See you bye. Have fun. Go find another place that wants you more than anything else in the world. So you're the last little transgender one that we were talking about here. Here's what they had to say. The Sarah McBride. Sarah McBride. Okay. Just keep this in mind. The little transformer activist had this to say.
Let's be clear. The party that was focused on culture wars, the party that was focused on trans people was the Republican Party. It was Donald Trump. It was the $100 million, $200 million that they spent on television ads. But I want to be clear, I do not believe, from what I've seen in Delaware, that voters in my state were responding to those attacks. Delaware is in the Philadelphia media market, so we were seeing those ads that Donald Trump clearly prioritized and focused in with regard to the culture wars. What I was hearing from voters across the state of Delaware, my district is urban, suburban, and rural. It looks like America. And what I was hearing was not the ads that Donald Trump was putting on the air. What I was hearing from folks is the need to build an economy that works for everyone. What I was hearing was that the American dream is increasingly unaffordable and inaccessible. What I was hearing was that we need to guarantee affordable health care, housing, and childcare for every person in this state and in this country. That's what I was hearing. That's what I was campaigning on. I didn't run on my identity, but my identity was not a secret. And in a state where 2/3 of the voters are in the Philadelphia
So why are you dressing like a woman?
Media market with a trans candidate on the ballot statewide, that can't.
There you go. Then why would you be even mentioning it? It's a trans. It's still bugging me. A week ago, I could see 100 cops, some heavy weaponry, bomb dogs, drug dogs, etc. It's all gone. He hears what he wants to hear.
Candidate not only performed on par with other Democrats, but had the highest percentage of any Democrat running for major statewide office in Delaware this cycle. And so I think what we have to all recognize here is that when a politician tries to take an issue that impacts a handful of people in a handful of states and turn it into the most important issue in an election.
No, that would not be true. I don't think Trump turned any of the transformer issues into a major issue. What did Trump run on again? Well, we can bring it all the way back. He brought it on making America great again, healthy again, strong again. He made it on the inflation, on immigration, and everyone kept trying to bring up it's all about trans rights or some crap like that, about abortion rights or some crap like that, Project 2025, some crap like that. And none of that turned to be true. And people did not vote en masse because of what this person is talking about, because it's not an issue with Donald Trump.
Everyone has to ask why. And the answer to that question is that Donald Trump was trying to divide and distract from the fact that he has absolutely no policy solutions for the issue.
Not true at all.
Issues that are actually keeping voters up at night, the issues that I was hearing about on the campaign trail. And I think we have to be crystal clear as we move forward that we are going to call out the hypocrisy of Donald Trump, of disingenuously claiming that he is a fighter for working people.
Oh, the disingenuousness of Donald Trump. Well, you want to see the disingenuous of Donald Trump? That's what he should be looking like. So you want to talk about disingenuous? There you go. The disingenuousness of certain people, huh? That's where we're at. Here, a little palate cleanser.
Did you know that already back in 1840, French philosopher Alexis de Tocqueville very accurately predicted and described in his book Democracy in America what type of tyranny a modern population like the American one had to be fearful of? Because as Tocqueville predicted, tyranny in a modern democratic society like America would look very different from the types of tyranny that European nations had faced up until then in aristocratic societies, for example. Let me quote: "It covers the service of society with a network of small, complicated rules, through which the most original minds and the most energetic characters cannot penetrate to rise above the crowd. The will of man is not shattered, but softened, bent, and guided. Men are seldom forced by it to act, but they are constantly restrained from acting. Such a power does not destroy, but it prevents existence. It does not tyrannize, but it compresses, enervates, extinguishes, and stupefies a people, till each nation is reduced to nothing better than a flock of timid and industrious animals, of which the government is the shepherd." Well, if that is not an accurate description of what actually ended up happening, not just to America, but to all modern democratic societies who have turned into absolute bureaucratic nightmares, then I don't know what is. Tocqueville was absolutely right. And that's why I'm so excited and happy to congratulate Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk on their appointments of the leader of the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, because for the first time in American history, now actively, there will be a government organization working against this type of tyranny that Tocqueville warned about. Did you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens, Natalie. Yeah, and sometimes Brandon Brandon does that. Didn't mean to delete that message. I blame my pocket. That does happen. Brandon's well known for doing that. So he doesn't mean it intentionally. And thank you, Zach, for bringing Natalie back. how do you untime out someone? I never use that option. I know. Can't wait till they skim the budget. Oh yeah, we're all waiting for that budget to be skimmed. So much. If you want to see how that budget can be skimmed pretty easily. How about this? You're looking at possibly your next Attorney General of the United States.
Tim Cook reportedly called Pelosi to deliver a warning about Congress's antitrust bills.
Without objection.
So maybe it's the lobbyists, maybe it's the power of these very powerful CEOs making personal calls, but it could even be something more sinister. Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record a Fortune.com piece entitled Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband cashed in on big tech just as Congress was set to pounce.
Without objection.
And in that article, there's discussion of the spouse of the Speaker of the House making a $6 million call on stocks that netted $5.3 million. Tim Cook reportedly.
Yeah. $5.3 million. The spouse of Nancy Pelosi. $5.3 million. Crazy, huh? It's crazy how that works. Crazy how that works. Mm-hmm. It's time to tell the truth about our Ukraine-Russian policy. America's cheering for a bloodbath. When you stop to think about it, Hollywood, breast implants, and DC speechwriters are eerily simple. They're both designed to help the actor perpetuate a particular image. It's just showbiz, baby. And even though we can kind of tell who uses them on our own, it's not polite to point them out in front of the paying public. It ruins the performer's desired aesthetics. Society runs on similar cultural fictions. We all know them. Every bride is beautiful. Every kid is cute. Your boss's ideas are always brilliant. When someone asks, "How are you?" you don't tell them about your crippling depression and or your ongoing bouts with bedwetting. The proper response is great, but sometimes our self-deceptions can be deeply damaging. Generally speaking, the purpose of euphemistic language is to spare someone's feelings. Although the PC nut jobs have given it a bad name, it's mostly innocuous. Hey, if an old cripple, a year or two guy wants to call him differently abled, cisgendered senior citizen, that's not going to be my hill to die on. I'll call him whatever he wants. It's good manners to treat people with respect. That usually extends to names, including names I personally dislike. Look, I always thought it's weird when dudes named Richard voluntarily choose to be called Dick, but hey, if that's what you want, that's what I'll call you. I'm a people pleaser. There's an inherent danger, however, whenever you're dishonest about your true intent on foreign policy, because there are life and death geopolitical considerations that outweigh societal niceties. And besides, when you're dealing with an atom-splitting Russian empire with 5,580 nuclear warheads, your margin of error is limited. Blundering your way into a thermonuclear war isn't in anyone's best interest. The past week, we learned that the lame duck Biden-Harris administration has finally given the Ukrainians to go ahead and fire U.S.-supplied and U.S.-built missiles into undisputed Russian territory. Russia promptly responded by lowering its threshold for the deployment of nuclear weapons, as we noted yesterday. The Kremlin spokesman announced the Russian Federation reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in case of aggression with the use of conventional weapons against it. The spokesperson also confirmed that the Biden-Harris approved missile strikes would be consistent with the updated doctrine could trigger Russia's nuclear response. Missiles and weapons are only tactics in and of themselves. They mean nothing. What is paramount importance is our overarching strategy, although foreign policy decisions are often bipartisan. America's Ukraine-Russian policy is an entirely Democrat invention. Putin invaded Ukraine during the Biden-Harris administration. Throughout the totality of the conflict, only Democrats have been commander-in-chief and secretary of defense. This is 100% a democratic strategy or Democrat strategy, aided and abetted by the occasional neocon, of course. And the Democrats' strategy is now readily apparent. It's not for Ukraine to win. If we wanted Ukraine to win, we would have given it a green light years earlier or upped our contributions. We've been stroking checks, but clearly could have done more. However, it's not for Russia to win either. Instead, what the Biden-Harris administration has been hoping for is a long, drawn-out, intractable bloodbath. Its deliberate policy decision by the American government trapped Russia in a lengthy multi-year conflict that chews up its hardware, depletes its artillery, and later on, even after it manages to conquer Ukraine, hopefully it will be too weakened to cause problems elsewhere. As ruthlessly Machiavellian policy, I'm not even saying that the Democrats are wrong. I'd prefer a weakened Russia and a strong Russia, too. 20 years from now, we could look back at this policy and consider it a masterstroke. But I'm saying we need to be honest with ourselves on this. We've engineered a conflict where the most probable outcome will be tens of thousands of additional Russians and Ukrainian corpses, possibly more, exponentially more. Should the nuclear genie escape from the bottle, it's a war we're not really trying to win, but actively perpetuating. The higher the body count, the better. It's a policy written in Russian and Ukrainian blood, and nobody is telling the truth about it. I worked at most of these types of places. There's absolutely no way their stock performances match any kind of legal diligence. Full stop. We've all pocket modded before. Yeah, it does happen. Stop playing with that thing in your pocket. Stop playing with that thing in your pocket. And you don't have to worry about damaging it. You won't break it if you careful with it. Oh boy, this next one you're going to love. You're going to love this next one. These following ones are brought to you by the wonderful PJ Media. They do have a nice little special going on for them, where you can get a good discount using their promo code, which would be FIGHT. You'd believe it's 60% off, and you think that's a big amount of money. It ends up being like $20 for a year off for PJ Media. So if you want some more conservative news, you can always pull up PJ Media. And no, I'm not being paid by PJ Media at all. They don't pay me to do anything, and I'm not running ads for them. I use their material, and I'm returning the favor in kind. Like this, you can buy Joe and Mika now at these bargain basement prices. You know, the old business expression, buy low, sell high. Comcast is so desperate to get rid of its cable properties, including MSNBC, that it might be willing to turn that expression on its head. Cable giant Comcast got into the content game in 2011 with its purchase of 51% stake in NBC Universal from GE for $13.8 billion. NBC Universal included NBC, MSNBC, Telemundo, Bravo, USA, and other channels. Do we still even call them channels? In 2013, Comcast bought the remaining 49% for a whopping $16.7 billion. In 2 years, the value of NBC Universal increased by roughly 10%. That's not too shabby for a collection of established media properties. Before the election, Comcast said that it was looking to get rid of its NBC Universal properties. Comcast owns CNBC, reported last month that the logic for Comcast is fairly straightforward because NBC Universal's cable networks aren't growing anymore. The business news network concluded carving out the cable portfolio could placate Comcast investors by removing declining assets from their balance sheets. After the election, Comcast made it official today that they're spinning off NBC Universal. There's one teensy little problem. Joy Reid down 54.6%. Ali Melber down 49%. Chris Haynes down 47%. Alice Wagner down 53%. Morning Joe down 39%. Stephanie Rule down 67%. Andrea Michael down 39.7%. Their ratings have tanked after they went for Kamala Harris. Even before her viewers fled post-election, Andrea Mitchell prepared for a major demotion. She announced in October that she will exit her namesake MSNBC show after the inauguration, but will remain as a correspondent at NBC News. After 16 years of being on the anchor chair every day, I want time to do more of what I love, more connecting, more listening, more reporting in the field. Mitchell said at the time, I find it difficult to believe that a 78-year-old has any desire whatsoever to leave the comfy anchor desk to go back out in the field. This all comes despite Morning Joe hosts Joe Scarborough and Mika Boriski, or whatever her name is, making peace with President Trump while somehow portraying themselves as brave resistance fighters, venturing into the belly of the beast to give him a piece of their minds. Well, maybe ratings crashed because Mika and Joe bent the knee, and now even their fellow lefties are sick of their transparently self-serving bullshit crap. Sorry, who can tell these days? Or as my hot-aired colleague Ed Morrissey put it earlier today, can MSNBC recover from its post-election cratering? Comcast answered this morning, who cares? It's not their problem anymore, but it is a problem for Comcast shareholders. The transaction will be structured as a tax-free spin into existing shareholders. Comcast President Mike Cavanaugh said in a memo seen by NBC News. So Comcast shareholders will soon own share in two companies. One will be Comcast, the other the spun-off NBCU networks. The hope is that Comcast shares will rise, freed from the NBCU ballast. What happens to the value of those NBCU shares? Presumably, we'll find out if the true value of various discredited left-wing infotainment networks and their high-priced air on talent. Thank you so much for your VIP support. If you haven't joined them, there's also a 50% off Save America promotion. There you go. You're hoping that Trump has major trolling in store for them. Oh, yes, I agree. All of these idiots are going to get massive buyouts and just end up getting paid more to spread the same lies without character. Yes, somewhere else. I heard interns hate going to Scarborough Fair. That would not surprise me. That would not surprise me one damn bit. That is pretty common. Pretty common. But of the top news being showed on all of this on PJ Media would be this right here. The morning briefing. Are the lawfare lunatics sweating yet? Happy Thursday, dear Cruiser Morning Brief friends. Besmeric never ceased to be amazed at how well Irish coffee paired with Count Chocula. The Democrats and their flying monkeys in the mainstream media spent a good portion of this year insisting that Donald Trump would be a vengeful tyrant if he was elected again, hell-bent on retribution against, well, them. That didn't go over quite like they thought it would. Obviously, heck, it sounded like a strong selling point to some of us. When Trump returns to office in January, he'll have plenty of work just beginning to undo the overwhelming damage that Joe Biden and the commie cabal running this brain stove have done. Getting the southern border under control, putting out the international fires that President Lol 81 million had started, and ridding the country and the economy of all the damn stink that will be time consuming. But it's not likely that Trump will be spending his lunches plotting payback. The Democrats are going to be alternatively relieved and crushed when they realize Trump isn't going to go little German for them. There was still a conversation to be had about some of the worst players in 2024 anti-Trump jihad. People tasked with upholding the law and justice became the election interference racket that they were fervently hoping that they would get him in jail before the election. It was truly frightening, un-American spectacle, and a legitimate threat to the republic. This is an article from Catherine wrote yesterday. Article 3 Project founder and president Mike Davis emphasized that the New York authorities postponing Donald Trump's sentencing illustrates how political the whole case was from the start in exclusive comments to PJ Media. Davis, a Republican legal expert, has repeatedly called out the judges, Department of Justice officials, the DAs involved in many of the various lawfare cases against Trump, now corrupt Judge Juan Merchan and Soros-backed Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg admitted that Trump's sentencing in the case involved alleged hush money payouts and the record's falsification has been indefinitely delayed. Davis sees this as a vindication not only of Trump, but of all those who consistently expose the corrupt lawfare. Davis stated the postponement of sentencing in New York proves that this case was always about Democrat lawfare and the election interference in the case were legitimate. Why keep delaying the sentencing? It's difficult to figure out who the most egregious Trump-hating perverts of the law were in this tawdry assault on justice, but Alvin Bragg and Juan Merchan would probably get my vote. Bragg is a daddy's issues-laden freak who doesn't hide his creepy obsession with Trump. He's typical Soros hack who is more interested in protecting criminals than law-abiding citizens. We know that Trump can deal with the rod at the federal level. Department of Justice employees have been operating as Joe Biden's personal goon squad since Biden got into office, and they know what's coming. Their days of arresting family men for singing hymns outside of abortion clinics are numbered. This is something I shared in the column, and they wrote the other day. This is the biggest crisis of morale. This is flat out depression horror that I've seen. Former Assistant Deputy Attorney General Harry Litman says of the mood in the State Department of the President, Donald-elect Trump, former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. Whatever house cleaning Trump ends up doing at the Department of Justice won't be retribution. It will be a necessary reorganization for the survival of the United States. I'm not even sure what can be done about the likes of Brad Merchan and the rest of the lawless people in the legal profession who targeted Donald Trump. The mood of electorate is hopefully giving them some cause for concern. As we just saw in Los Angeles with the defeat of the criminal-friendly DA George Gascon, and the Soros operatives aren't safe even in the bluest of cities. Some kind of message has to be sent. When what we witnessed this year can never happen again, the Democrats can't come away thinking that lawfare is an option in each election. They will if Bragg and company emerge from this unscathed. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that right there. Good morning, Wendy. How are you doing this morning? Good morning. Good morning, Tracy Spencer. Glad you could make it in. It's a wonderful, wonderful morning. It is a absolute wonderful morning. But there is justice in the world. There is just a little bit of justice. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Business received backlash after refusing to serve Trump supporters. At times, it can feel like the country is only concerned about all the things red and blue. But if you're a business owner, you typically are only worried about one other color, and that would be green. Despite what Whoopi Goldberg says, however, one Tennessee woman in Tennessee broke that unspoken rule and decided she only wanted to work with people who supported her own political views. The backlash came so fast and furiously that she had to shut down her business. 40-year-old Kristen Walter of Memphis is the owner of the florist shop Everbloom Designs in Memphis, Tennessee. In a video post on social media, she announced after Election Day that she was changing her business policies. I won't do business with people who support the president-elect, and it's because I need to create a safe place for me, my staff, and my family, Wortler said. So here's exactly what she said right here.
I won't do business with people who support the president-elect, and it is because I need to create a safe place for me, my staff, and my family.
Yeah, that's what she had to say. Well, according to Newsmax Todd Starnes, Walter also said she was triggered by the election results and couldn't believe her community chose financial concerns, the economy, over human rights and decency. Everbloom Design, a Memphis flower shop, announced they will no longer do business with any Trump supporters. I won't do business with people who support the president-elect. It's because I need to create a safe space for me, my staff, and my family. Apparently, Water received such harsh backlash online and in person that she made her social media accounts private, shut down her shop temporarily, according to KWAM News Radio 900. She posted a note on her shop door that stated, I knew standing up for what I believe and would have consequences. I'm so grateful to those of you who have supported me in this. They are showing their true colors and lack of decency and humanity. Now she claims that she's the victim. This is the Memphis flower shop that announced the ban on customers who support President Trump. The owner went out of her way to post multiple statements condemning Trump supporters with such intolerance is disheartening. The shop will be closed the rest of the week due to threats to me and my business. The posts I made previously have now been posted on several accounts and websites. I knew standing up for what I believe in would have consequences. I'm so grateful to all the views who supported me as they're showing their true colors and lack of decency and humanity. Listen. We all have strong political views, but at the time of this article was published, Decision Desk headquarters reports that 76,837,044 people have voted for Donald Trump, and 74,313,833 people voted for Camel Toe Harris. Why would you want to risk alienating any of those people? As a small business owner myself, I have strong political views too, but I am also a capitalist who enjoys earning as much money as I can. I don't stop and ask people who in the F they voted for when they request my services. Then again, I gave up trying to figure out liberal reasoning years ago. The other thing I'm absolutely tired of hearing from the left is how Trump supporters lack decency and humanity. I don't know, but to me, telling people that they're not welcome in your business when they haven't really done anything to you sort of lacks decency and humanity in itself. Maybe instead of showing contempt for people who vote differently than you do, reach out and ask for a conversation, ask them why they do what they do, so maybe you can understand them better. Then again, if you're a 49-year-old adult who needs a safe space, you probably have bigger issues to address. Thank you, Sarah Anderson. That was beautiful, beautifully written. Green trumps blue and red all day long, and that is the biggest part of it right there. Memphis is a blue city. This is just virtue signaling. Exactly. But people, whenever you have to virtue signal like that, people will all of a sudden go out of their way to go after you. They're sick of it. They don't want to hear it. They're just like, why? Why are you telling me this BS? I don't care. I don't care what your belief is in this crap. People, liberal election hysteria by high school abortion femicist. Bad Orange Man is really done a hell of a number on liberals, particularly it seems young upper white class white women from places like Georgetown or Portland indoctrinated into the social justice cult. Trump's win terrifies me. Why don't boys my age care? Asks a teenage girl who attends the school with unisex bathrooms rhetorically. Morning after the election, I walked up the staircase of my school. A preteen was crying into the shoulders of her braces-clad peer. Her friend was rubbing circles on her back. I continued up the stairs to the lounge where the upperclassmen linger before classes. There I saw 2 tables. One was filled with my girlfriends, many of them with hollows under their eyes. There was a blanket of despair over the young women in the room. I looked over to the other side of the teenage boys and saw Minecraft on their computers while we were gasping for a breath. And it seemed like they were breathing freely. We girls woke up to a country that would rather elect a man found liable for SA than a woman, where the kind of man my mother instructs me to cross the street to avoid will be addressed as Mr. President, where the body I haven't fully grown into may no longer be under my control. The boys, it seemed to me, just woke up on a Wednesday. Yeah, typically. So did you. Here we go. You get to see this too.
This is The Opinions, a show that brings you a mix of voices from New York Times Opinion. You've heard the news. Here's what to make of it.
I'm Naomi Beinart, and I'm a junior in high school. On the morning after the election, I walked up the staircase of my school. A preteen was crying into the shoulders of her braces-clad peer. Her friend was rubbing circles on her back. I continued up the stairs to the lounge where upperclassmen linger before classes. There I saw 2 tables. One was filled with my girlfriends, many of them with hollows of darkness under their eyes. There was a thick blanket of despair over the young women in the room.
Oh, I'm sure there was.
I looked over to the other table of teenage boys and saw Minecraft on their computers. While we were gasping for a breath, it seemed that they were breathing freely. We girls woke up to a country that would rather elect a man found liable for sexual abuse than a woman, where the kind of man my mother instructs me to cross the street to avoid will be addressed as Mr. President, where the body I haven't fully grown into may no longer be under my control. The boys, it seemed to me, just woke up on a Wednesday.
Yeah. Really amazing stuff. Really amazing stuff here. The girl had obviously been groomed politically. No 16-year-old would ever organically be as upset as she claims to be as a junior high school junior. about her precious deletions of children. Continuing, I'm scared that the Trump administration will take away or restrict birth control and Plan B the same way it did abortion. I'm scared that the boys I know will see in triumphant, boastful Mr. Trump the epitome of manly man and model themselves after him. I was 8 years old the first time he was elected. Now I'm 16. I am still unable to vote, but I am so much more aware of what I have to lose. 8 years ago, I was too young to feel the full force of Hillary Clinton's loss. Now at 16, I've had the wind knocked out of me. On Wednesday, I was flushed with anger, but it was diluted by even a stronger feeling, defeat. I saw in eyes of women in my subway car that morning. So why is she riding a subway car at 16? I saw it in the barista at the coffee shop on the corner, the female security guard at my school. Why do you have a security guard at your school? And the face of my history teacher. Well, your history teacher has never got a load on her face ever. That might be why. In a terrible way, I've never felt more part of a sisterhood or more certain that a pain is shared within that family. I wish the consequences of this moment for young women punctured the apparent indifference of so many men and boys I saw that day. I wish I could breathe in what the women and girls I know have been inhaling since November 5th. Such is the fruit of feminism. Note the total lack of literally any policy mentioned. I checked thoroughly, except for abortion and birth control. It's all abortion all the time. The abortion obsession is because A, people of this class have no real problems to get worked up about, and so Democrats need a lightning rod issue to galvanize the base, and B, this girl, like so many of her class, wants and needs to be a victim. Societal capital opens up for her benefit by being a permanent victim. Her personal identity is victimhood. If she can ever overcome her oppressors, who would she be then? Like a fish flopping on solid ground, she'd have to reinvent herself and her place in the world. With it, what this is Munchausen syndrome of a non-standard variety. Via Cleveland Clinic, emphasis added. Munchausen syndrome, also known as a factitious disorder imposed on self, is a mental health disorder where you falsify, exaggerate, or induce physical, emotional, or cognitive disorders. People with factitious disorders act this way because of an inner need to be seen as ill or injured. If you have Munchausen syndrome, you may undergo painful or risky medical tests and operations in order to get the sympathy and special attention given to people who are truly ill. You may secretly injure yourself to cause signs of illness. You may add blood to your urine or use a rubber band to cut off circulation to a limb. Some people will cut or burn themselves, poison themselves, reopen wounds, rub feces or dirt into a wound to cause infection, or eat contaminated food. The online community has groups for people with physical and mental, emotional health issues. They're meant to be a safe place where people who have a disorder can come together and discuss their difficulties, share tips, and provide support. Examples of support groups include those for leukemia patients, cancer patients, cystic fibrosis patients. Yeah. Teenagers do dumb shit. Moving on. Yeah. If you don't like the conversation, change it. Read the room. Los Angeles embraces sanctuary status. But we've got something really good for you. We are going to take a quick break. I'm going to fill up on some more coffee, and we will be right back after just a short musical interlude. Okay, I'll give you the old interlude. It's a little bit longer, but I'll show you the one that I'm working on to replace this one. So be right back.
Sandy shores, get a tan, Rambo the orangutan. Driving a golf cart, oh man, Rambo is half crazy, yes he can. Well, that SOB's a sight to F and see. Oh, Rambo's rolling, rolling, rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Whoa, Rambo's rolling, rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Shizzy on the dunes, coffee in hand. Rambo is a loon, and Shizzy is, well, that is too dirty to say here. Shizzy on the dunes, coffee in hand. Rambo is a loon, and Shizzy is a, that is too dirty to say here, Oh, Rambo's rolling, rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Otters in the surf, hummingbirds in the sky. Rambo honks the horn and spits in Shizzy's eye. Oh my! Oh, Rambo's rolling, rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Oh, Rambo's rolling. Rambo takes a turn, driving to the wave. Otters wave their paws, telling Rambo, not sure, but if you could understand otter, it probably wasn't nice.
Hey, you guys want to hear the updated version of it? Here you go. Oh, yeah.
Sandy shores get a tan, Rambo the orangutan. Driving a golf cart, old man Rambo is half crazy, yes he can. Well, that SOB's a sight to effing see. Oh, Rambo's rolling. Past the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Oh, Rambo's rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Shizzy on the dunes, coffee in hand. Rambo is a loon, and Shizzy is a, well, that is too dirty to say here. Shizzy on the dunes, coffee in hand. Rambo is a loon, and Shizzy is a, that is too dirty to say here, Oh, Rambo's rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Otters in the surf, hummingbirds in the sky. Rambo honks the horn and spits in Shizzy's eye. Oh my! Oh, Rambo's rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Oh, Rambo's rolling. Rambo takes a turn, driving to the waves. Otters wave their paws, telling Rambo, not sure, but if you could understand otter, it probably wasn't nice.
Oh.
Rambo takes a turn, driving to the waves.
Yeah, the 450 is much better.
Otters wave their paws, telling Rambo, not sure, but if you could understand otter, it probably wasn't nice. Oh, Rambo's rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. So here's to Rambo, otters and hummingbirds by the edge of the ocean. And Shizzy, well, he might just be there too.
here's to Rambo, otters and hummingbirds by the edge of the ocean. And Shizzy, well, he might just be there too.
So here we have. Here we have Scientific American editor resigns after profanity-laden tirade about Trump voters. In September, I wrote about how that month's issue of Scientific American issued its second ever presidential endorsement. Not shockingly, the first endorsement was for Joe Biden in 2020, and the second one was for Camel Toe Harris. It was surprising was the downright characteral portrayal of both candidates and what their administrations would bring. Harris would offer the country better prospects, relying on science, solid evidence, and the wellness to learn from experience, while Trump administration endangers public health and safety, rejects the evidence, preferred instead nonsensical conspiracy fantasies. Scientific America broke down the issues it believed the country faced in different scientific categories and took a predictably far left position on everything. It was embarrassing and silly. It demonstrated the magazine's commitment not to science, but to scientism. It's telling that Scientific America are so beholden to the left, which means that there's no room for other opinions or theories on their closed minds. That's what this person wrote at the time. Toby Young went further, calling the endorsement not a choice dictated by science, but by theology. Of course, we know how the election went. Voters repudiated the unscientific assessment of what either a Harris administration or Trump administration would bring. Americans saw Trump in a return to sanity and reasonability, something like that. Scientific American's editor-in-chief Laura Helmet took to Blue Sky the left's attempt to create a social media echo chamber to thrash Trump supporters and generally stomp her feet and pout at the election didn't go her way. She called Trump voters the meanest, dumbest, most bigoted group of fascists. I wonder what scientific study she has to prove that hypothesis. In one post, she wrote, I apologize to younger voters that my Gen X is so full of effing fascists. In another, she expressed her wish to F Trump voters to the moon and back. Conservatives and reasonable liberals on X caught wind of the rants and roasted her, bringing her wildly disgusting rants to light to shed her to resign from her post. CNN reports that Helmet said Thursday that she's decided to leave Scientific America after an exciting 4.5 years as editor-in-chief without mentioning her previous comments. Helmet locked down her X account, although it isn't clear she did it after the controversy erupted or earlier, so she issued an apology on the left-wing media platform. I made a series of offensive and inappropriate posts on my personal Blue Sky account on election night, and I'm sorry. I respect the value of people across the political spectrum. In these posts, which I have deleted, do not reflect my beliefs. They were mistaken expression of shock and confusion about the election results. These posts, of course, do not reflect the position of Scientific America or my colleagues. I am committed to a civil communication and editorial objectivity. As a Gen X Trump voter, I can't see how her calling me a fucking fascist is either civil or objective, so I'm not buying the rhetoric. Naturally, the comments are full of lefties continuing to decry Trump and his supporters are as ugly as anything you'd expect from the unhinged left. We thank Laura for her 4 years of leading Scientific America, during which time the magazine won major scientific communications awards and saw establishment of a reimagined digital newsroom. Scientific America President Kimberly Lau said in a statement to CNN, "We wish her well for the future." However, X-users like Dr. Greg Marchand, a campaigner against transgender interventions for children, applauded Helmut's resignation. As director of Major Research Institute, I cannot understand how beneficial Laura Helmut's retirement from SCIAM, Scientific America, for the research in America. Her liberal activism disguised as science turned one of the most prestigious journals in the world to a woke joke. Under Helmut's tenure at Scientific America, the outlet went so far to the left that it almost became a parody. The left cannot resist politicizing everything, including science. So for Helmut to go her way only improve the magazine, unless her replacement is worse. It's always possible. And I just want to say right off the bat, This next young lady is amazing.
So my husband moved to the United States from Europe 6 years ago for college. He came here legally. We were both swimmers at the University of Kentucky. We got married at the end of my senior year in 2022, meaning we've been married for over 2.5 years now. Maybe you'd think he's well on his way to becoming a US citizen, and you would be wrong. After 2.5 years of marriage, he still doesn't even have his green card. If you haven't dealt with this process, I envy you. It requires so much in terms of application process, immigration lawyers, fees that you have to pay. Months and months and months went by before we heard from USCIS or Immigration Services, until finally we got this letter in the mail. I'm not going to include the whole letter because it contains personal information, but we got a request for evidence. The evidence that immigration was looking for was a completed vaccination record. And what vaccination did my husband not have? The COVID vaccination. Yes, you heard that right. In the year 2024, you have to have the under-researched, ineffective COVID vaccine to enter into this country legally. Notice I said legally, because our government does not require illegal immigrants to have the COVID vaccine. Like, really think about that. Think about how hard our government has made it for people migrating into this country legally in comparison with those who break the law. Because if you just walk across the southern border, you're given housing, you're given a driver's license, you're given money, and our government has never been able to answer basic questions about COVID and the vaccine. Like, if the mask work, why do we have to social distance? And if the 6-foot distance works, then why do we have to wear masks? And if both of those things work, then why the lockdowns? And if all three of those work, then why the vaccine? And if the vaccine was effective, then why the boosters? And why was COVID never bad enough to shut the southern border? But honestly, even still, it's a decision my husband would make 10 days out of 10. What good is a green card with compromised health? When this craziness inevitably ends, because it will, my husband will become a citizen and have a functioning immune system. So it's a win-win.
So, that being said, COVID vaccines have been found to be completely effective, and everybody should be looking forward to their next booster as soon as possible. Every single bit of what the government tells us is true and should never be disputed. Ever dispute what the government tells you is good for you. Entirely health related. They know what's best for you, and there's nothing that can change my mind about that whatsoever. Nothing about that whatsoever could ever change my mind. Nothing that they do could change my mind in that whatsoever.
This lead pencil. There's not a single person in the world who could make this pencil. Remarkable statement? Not at all. The wood from which it's made, for all I know, comes from a tree that was cut down in the state of Washington. To cut down that tree, it took a saw. To make the saw, it took steel. To make the steel, it took iron ore. This black center, we call it lead, but it's really graphite, compressed graphite. I'm not sure where it comes from, but I think it comes from some mines in South America. This red top up here, the eraser, bit of rubber, probably comes from Malaya, where the rubber tree isn't even native. It was imported from South America by some businessmen with the help of the British government. This brass ferrule, I haven't the slightest idea where it came from, or the yellow paint, or the paint that made the black lines, or the glue that holds it together. Literally thousands of people cooperated to make this pencil. People who don't speak the same language, who practice different religions, who might hate one another if they ever met. When you go down to the store and buy this pencil, you are in effect trading a few minutes of your time for a few seconds of the time of all those thousands of people. What brought them together and induced them to cooperate to make this pencil? There was no commissar sending out orders from some central office. It was a magic of the price system. the impersonal operation of prices that brought them together and got them to cooperate to make this pencil so that you could have it for a trifling sum. That is why the operation of the free market is so essential, not only to promote productive efficiency, but even more to foster harmony and peace among the peoples of the world.
Well, that's because you got turned on by crayons, man. What's your favorite flavor of crayon there? Yamaha. What is your favorite color? Favorite flavor? Here you go. This will blow your mind. You want to see this? This I have to cut the music off on it. This is amazing right here. Watch. Just watch. Paying attention? Watching? Keep watching. Mm-hmm. How did that happen? Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. Oh, I'll show you the rest of it. Oh, there you go. Drop the card. How in the hell did he do that? How in the hell did he do that? I'll have to show Volstorm. I'll send Volstorm a private thing that he requested. Something that he requested. And this is not it, but this guy has, you've heard of a 4 head. Well, this guy has a 10 head. Just giving you a warning ahead of time. Watch out for the 10 heads.
Only 21% of the voting population in this country actually voted for Donald Trump. There is not some major silent Trump majority in this country. He was a deeply unpopular president during his first term. He is still deeply unpopular. His approval rating has never even reached 50%, something Biden's approval rating and arguably Harris's approval rating have exceeded quite easily, I think, if I remember right. The actual numbers suggest there's not some sort of silent Trump majority. Because so many people didn't vote, a fifth of this country's populace got to decide who runs the country for the rest of us. Only 21.
Yeah. Cope and seethe. But you want to see some more cope and seethe? Yeah. Oh, we have more cope and seethe. We have it's hard to describe. I'll just have to show you.
Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence. Now, everybody loves that she is now saying she's a Republican. But I have always said, let's look at what they've said, what their actions are.
What about you, Nikki? You war hawk. What about her? I think you feel the statistics. I agree. He doesn't get Wi-Fi in mommy's basement. I don't think she does either, because this right here, I think she is coping and seething because she wanted to have a part of Donald Trump's presidency. Her own state doesn't even want her there.
DNI, that is the president's top intelligence advisor. It's supposed to fairly represent the views of 18 separate intelligence agencies and units. It has the authority over $100 billion annual U.S. spy budget. $100 billion U.S. annual spy budget. And it holds sway over which secrets we declassify.
I know.
That's a big deal. This is a job for an honest broker without any pronounced policy biases.
Not true.
So hold that thought for a second.
This is not true.
What are the facts about Tulsi Gabbard? She opposed ending the Iran nuclear deal. She opposed sanctions on Iran. She opposed designating the Iran military as terrorists who say death to America every single day.
She opposed going to war with these countries. Shut the F up, bitch. She is a rhino. Well, if you could call her a she. Yeah, I've been watching that. It's amazing to me that Saturday Night Live can't even match that at this point in time. Yes, we're this person right here wants to have never-ending wars.
She said that Donald Trump turned the U.S. into Saudi Arabia's prostitute.
Well, no lies detected there.
This is going to be the future head of our national intelligence. In Congress, Tulsi criticized Trump's authoritarian strike against Qasem Soleimani. Now, I will remind you, he was considered the master of death in Iran. She said he had no justification whatsoever for killing him.
Well, and have you seen her opinion change over the past 4 years? Have you seen her opinion change? Have you seen her opinion change after the DNC went hard and heavy against her? That the national intelligence agencies put her on a no-fly list. Do you think all of a sudden, whenever she bucked the system, that she didn't become independent? Have you seen her change her stance over the past 4 years on Second Amendment rights? I would say I've quite much seen that. I think Nikki's really pissed off because Donald Trump did choose her as a vice presidential running mate, that she had to suck eggs at the RNC. Nikki, Trump doesn't want you back. Exactly. No matter how hard she wants, Trump does not want her back. She's a war hawk. She wants to have more wars in Ukraine, more wars in the Middle East. She has been promoting that. She is a rhino, true and blue. I would not be surprised if she leaves the Republican Party and goes full on Democrat. Would not be surprised in the slightest. Yeah, she's calling the kettle black neocon. Yeah.
She tried to limit Trump's war powers against Iran. She tried to cut our annual defense budget so that we couldn't punish Iran and hinder their influence.
And what did you do? You wanted to go on full out war.
Reminder, Iran is our #1 sponsor of terrorism, and Tulsi Gabbard was defending Iran.
And what is her stance now?
She went to Syria in 2017 for a photo op with Bashar al-Assad while he was massacring his own people. She said she was skeptical that he was behind the chemical weapons attacks. Now, this to me is disgusting because, Cheney, you and I were at the United Nations.
Oh, is this Liz Cheney?
When Assad did those chemical attacks on those children. Yep. And you can go back and look at a speech I gave holding up pictures of dead children who had been killed by chemical attacks.
Yep, choked to death.
For her
to... No, it's not at all. This is Cheney Denton, co-host of Nikki Haley Live. So basically her little sounding board. Yeah, look at those eyes. Those are just dead eyes. Like creepy.
To say that Assad was not behind that. Literally everything she said about that were Russian talking points. Every bit of that. That was Russian propaganda.
why are you reading this? And you have no cognitive thought of your own because you're reading this off of a teleprompter. This is disgusting, Nikki. Nikki, I know you're a disgusting human being, but you really are taking one step down that rabbit hole too far.
After Russia invaded Ukraine, Tulsi Gabbard literally blamed NATO.
As she should have. As she should have. Because it had everything to do with NATO pulling garbage. If I had to listen to that blathering every day, I'd be dead inside as well. Exactly, Clark. Exactly.
Our Western alliance is responsible for countering Russia. She blamed NATO.
Yeah, as she should. Just keep in mind, the three-letter agencies have wanted to F up Iran for a decade. Don't believe anything you hear from D.C. till Trump has been in office for at least 6 months. Exactly. Exactly. And Nikki is on the board of a defense contractor. I did not know that, Volstorm. I hate being talked to like a kindergartner. Oh, come on. It's okay, Zach. You'll get over it. Zach's going to start throwing eggs at me. I better shut up.
For the attack on Ukraine. And the Russians and the Chinese echoed her talking points and her interviews on Russian and Chinese television. Tulsi Gabbard pushed for dropping charges against WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people that were pushing for that. I was so hoping everyone would finally unite and work to make America great again, but I see now it's going to be the same old bullshit like before. Total resistance is good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah. Good morning, Clark. See, Amble's girl is like, she's going, yeah, you got her attention. Damn, YouTube. Amble's girl. Hey, Miss 380, how you doing? First frost here feels good.
And pardoning National Security Agency contractor Edward Snowden, both whom were accused of leaking highly sensitive U.S. secrets that.
And this is there is no debating that they did that Snowden leaked highly sensitive documents that put soldiers in harm's way. There's no denying that happened at all.
That put Americans in danger.
Mm-hmm. True.
She called for Trump to end the destructive trade war.
No, just trade war. No. Well, very much so. But also, you have to remember that J.D. Vance did not like Trump to start out with. And then once he got to know Trump and where he was coming from, he realized that he wasn't part of the political class. Part of what Nikki Haley stands for is the bureaucracy of the political class. She's a war hawk. She would go to war tomorrow if she were in this position. If she were sitting in Biden's shoes, she would be doing nothing different than Biden is doing right now in Ukraine.
With China. So now she's defended Russia, she's defended Syria, she's defended Iran, and she's defended China. Now, she has not denounced any of these views. None of them. She hasn't taken one of them back.
Wrong.
DNI, Department of National Intelligence. This is not a place for a Russian, Iranian, Syrian, Chinese sympathizer. DNI has to analyze real threats. Are we comfortable with someone like that at the top of our national intelligence agencies?
Hey, it's me. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, she is a war hawk. She's an absolute war hawk. Los Angeles embraces sanctuary status. Is Arizona to follow? Illegal immigration was top concern of voters from both parties this year. Well, it was one of the top ones. You also have to remember it was the economy, inflation, was out of control. And as you've seen, if you have a stock portfolio, look and tell me how your stock portfolio is doing since Donald Trump has been named to be the next president of the United States. Have you noticed that at all? How it's become? Is it doing better or is it doing worse? How did we end up with so many sociopaths in power just lying with a straight face all day and sleeping easy at night? They were voted in. Top of the morning, shiz and friends. Morning, Valley. Good morning. But nobody seems to have told the Los Angeles City Council or Democrat Arizona Katie Hobbs either. Before I take you through the Democrats' latest effort of self-immolation, you got to see just how angry Americans are about our southern border. Pew study, which I don't really care too much about, showed that immigration was a very important concern for 82% of Donald Trump supporters. And I hate polls so much, but a solid 39% of Camel Toe Harris voters agreed. While the border was the second most important concern for Trump voters after the economy, it was still in the top 10 for our friends on the left. Americans aren't just concerned about illegal immigration in some distant drawing room way. Border debate shifts as Biden is confronted with anger from Democrats. NBC News warned in 2023. CBS News raised a red flag in January, reporting that Americans increasingly see the border as a crisis. And we've been seeing it all along from the beginning. If you're conservative, you were sitting here looking at this garbage in 2020. And you were saying this is becoming a problem. You were looking at it during Obama's administration, saying this is an issue that needs to be addressed. Even the New York Times admitted after the election that we're fed up over it. Biden and Harris didn't listen. Biden was forced out and Harris lost. That's because a party that ignores the top concerns of nearly 40% of its supporters is a party that's in trouble. At least partly explains why Trump is the first Republican since 2004 to win the popular vote. Is it possible there are a few Democrats who said the border was very important because they don't believe Biden and Harris opened the border wide enough technically? I suppose there could be some small number of middle-aged progressive female TikTok influencers which recently shaved their skulls who sincerely believe that when Xanax isn't working, that not enough people from Buchanan Foso snuck across, but it's safe to say they aren't large enough constituency to bother catering to. What brings us back to the Democrat-dominated Los Angeles City County. Los Angeles City Council on Tuesday approved a so-called sanctuary city ordinance that bars city resources from being used for immigration enforcement and city departments from sharing information on people without legal status with federal immigration authorities in anticipation of a potential mass deportations under President-elect Donald Trump. Mass deportation, one of Trump's signature issues this time around, just as much as build the wall was in 2016. Trump 45 ran into serious headwinds in Congress with the border wall, but Trump 47 can accomplish much more as chief executive officer with deportations. Besides building the wall after Biden and Harris let in untold millions is too much like closing the barn door after the horse escapes. Around the nation, Democrats must be facepalming at the thought of being associated with the Los Angeles City Council. In Arizona, Governor Hobbs said this week that she will work with the Trump administration on illegal immigration, but only when it benefits Arizonans in her estimation. If I need to stand up to them because their actions will harm Arizonans, I will do that. Let my friend and Arizona native Stephen Cruiser correct me if I'm wrong, but if Hobbs is looking to revitalize her border state's GOP, refusing to work with Trump on deportations might do the trick. All of this progressive I don't know what that word is, speaks with a broader problem that Representative Richie Torres admitted to with refreshing honesty this week on X. The far left, illustrated by the long tail in the graph below, has no room for laugh in supermajority of Americans who reject far left positions in immigration and public safety. None other than Elon Musk shared the meme a while back as he made his journey from Democrat by default to a wrecking ball against big government. May the rest of the country soon follow suit. If you want to see more of that kind of information, you can always go for the PJ Media where they have a discount code running. Thanks, Shizzy. I've learned more about what's going on for me than any news channel, as they all seem to be one-sided. Well, sometimes you have to read between the lines, and you're welcome. I mean, I'm not the brightest, not the brightest. I see things a little bit differently, I guess. This next one is why there's going to be some issues in a very particular state. And there's going to be charges that are going to be filed right with this.
Last Thursday, when you were deciding that you should count illegal ballots missing at least one signature, the attorney said over and over again that it is illegal to count these. Diane said, quote, "Precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate the laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to me." You, being the slick politician you are, you didn't even say yes or nod your head. Your eyes were closed and your face was expressionless. Bob, this was your opportunity to be a leader. You could have put a big brotherly arm around her and said, there, Diane. I know you're very passionate about this, but we have to follow the law. You could have done this, but oh no, what did you do? You voted to violate the law along with her. Diane's actually right, though. The law doesn't matter anymore in this country because people like you violate it all the time, and all we the people do is sit here and complain. Well, I want to let you know that I'm not going to take it anymore. I have decided to file a criminal complaint against both of you for breaking the following laws. Title 25, Section 3050, Title 25, Section 3501, Title 25, Section 3510, Title 25, Section 3527, 52 USC 10308. Oh, and by the way, Gene, when they're arrested, we want an evening town hall style commissioners meeting once.
Yeah. She brought the fire. She brought the fire. And the crying never stops.
Honestly, I think we should gaslight Trump into thinking that the Electoral College is part of the Department of Education, so that when he dismantles the Department of Education, the Electoral College goes as well. I mean, a win is a win. Honestly,
They're not very smart. Not very smart at all. If you want to see how smart that they're not, you want to see how smart that they're not. Here's Camel Toe's ex.
I think men are better than they think they are. However, messaging has just gotten out of control from both sides. You take a look at the fact that across the board, didn't matter what race they are, males turned towards Donald Trump, turned away from the Democratic Party. And why? That's the real question that should be asked. Why? Because in so many ways, the party basically dismissed him, left him out of the conversation, and not until the very end decided, oh, I better reach out and see if these guys are worth talking to. And if you just look at the fact that we have nobody, I think, in this country right now, the majority of people, believe in an equal playing field where everybody gets to participate and play. But when you start shoving certain things down people's throats that they don't want to have to eat, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of forcing somebody to do something that they didn't want to do.
Well, there's the messaging toward men that Trump was doing, and then there was the messaging toward women that the Harris-Biden campaign were doing. I mean, I remember sitting at the Democratic convention and looking after 3 or 4 days and saying, not a whole lot of men on this program. And that's intentional because they thought this was going to be an abortion election, but was that a misstep?
I think that abortion being the top issue was obviously a misstep because we saw that it didn't actually bring out the women that they expected either. But I would argue that from the onset, well,
that's because you don't know what a woman is. That could be a problem. If you don't know what a woman is, You're going to have a hard time bringing women out.
Polling showed that there were stark divisions between what men valued and what women valued, which isn't actually surprising across this country.
No, it's what Americans value. Americans value being able to survive. And whenever you've got it's not exactly, Zach. I foresee 51 to 50s in the year coming up. A lot of 51 to 50s coming in the year. Mm-hmm. Ugh. Yeah, the problem is these folks did not pay any attention to what the American voters were. They were telling the American voters what they wanted. They were dictating from their news medias. They were dictating it from their campaigns. This is what you're going to believe in. This is what you're going to listen to. This is what you need to pay attention to. Hey, stop licking your feet, you crazy dog. Sorry. President can't do anything now about, yes, exactly. Whiskey, stop. Stop licking your feet, you crazy dog. He's a little neurotic. All right, come here. Come here. All right, crazy. So this is the crazy dog right here, licking his feet. As you can tell by his little paws are soaking wet. Crazy mutt. What do you say? Huh? Bite his face off. Yeah, he's adorable. I know. You see, stop. I'm not your licking post. All right, chill. Go on. No, don't bite my feet. Ouch. Stop it. Crazy little dog.
But the economy was something that everybody valued. The way it was messaged, I think, was problematic. But in addition to that, looking at the psychological aspect of things, men have felt left out for quite some time, be it whether it was social groups, be it whether it was, leading to depressive states or other things. They've been very vocal about that. That existed long before the pandemic. I do think that there needed to be stronger outreach to men and men of all backgrounds. But in addition to that, there needed to be more men at the helm of the decision-making process on the campaign. A campaign that is run by a lot of women is probably not going to be the same campaign that can speak to men. I'm glad that we have this.
To be fair,
No, it's run by ideological people that are telling you what you need to think instead of actually let you think for yourself. They still haven't gotten it yet. Because you're separating people into these boxes and you're separating people away from each other. Whenever you divide a people, they're going to unanimously gain together. Wait, are they women-splaining? Yeah, that's pretty much it. When you separate people and put them in their own little boxes, they're gonna disagree with you and they're gonna fight back to that.
Here
both
because
Trump
it matters.
and Harris's campaign were run by a mixture of men and women. I'm not sure. I think it's just about a theory of the case.
But no,
right?
a lot of the messaging strategies that were developed to men by white women. And I think that is a problem.
Interesting.
Oh,
I find
Jesus,
this interesting.
no.
Scott
Idiots.
Galloway, who has a podcast, many podcasts, but he's working on a book about what's going on with men in the country. He writes this: young American men are in a crisis of underemployment, under-socialization. Soaring college costs affect people regardless of their gender, but manufacturing jobs, once a ticket to the middle class for men without college degrees, have been offshored. Housing is increasingly unaffordable. Men are stuck. They are isolated, despairing, and unproductive, prone to obesity, drug addiction, and suicide, susceptible to misogyny, conspiracy theory.
Yeah. I trust me, Brandon. I know. Yeah, I deal with the same thing. Brandon and I are both in the same boat on this one. Bless you for your service with the leftists. Yeah, it happens. Check him for candida infection. It's more common than you think. It's funny. I can't believe they're women-splaining until I see them lift and separate. Oh, God, Jesus. Let's go ahead. Implore you not to eat your wife's cooking for at least a few months. Liberal women are fat. It's nice about poisonous conservative men. That's true. That is so true. That is so true. I think you want me to bring you in there, brother? Just say something in private chat if you want to be brought in. I don't want to bring in unless you're cool with that. Just let me know. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll do this really quick. We're going to bring in oh yeah.
Do I want you to bring me in? Dear Lord, what kind of a question is that?
I love messing
I
with you,
didn't,
brother.
if I didn't want you to bring me in, I want to come on, shizzy.
Do you represent a majority? So that's why we watch. I don't. You know what I represent? I represent half of the population.
I represent me. I don't represent anybody else. I don't represent a political party. I represent me.
Exactly.
Half the time, I don't even represent my wife.
Very true. Never shuts up. Of course he wants on.
Exactly. Get it straight. Get it straight.
Get it straight, Jesse, you dumbass. Oh, what? Probably both. Probably both. You know, because his crapper is in the closet. Wallace! Wallace! Oh, let me finish this thing out with her.
Radicalization. They make inadequate mates, employees, and citizens. It's a pretty dire picture that he paints there, and it seems what he's saying is that Trump spoke to that.
Well, I agree. First of all, I agree with most of everything that's been said here already. I agree with some of this assessment. I do think we have a crisis of especially young men in this country, and they're, in many ways disconnected from the rest of their families, disconnected from their communities, disconnected from our political culture, disconnected from our civil culture. And that's a real problem for a society that depends on all of us to be engaged and working together to make it as good of a country and as good of a society as it can be. I think the Democrats in this election made men feel like that the patriarchy is over, boys, and we're going to put you in the back seat for a while, and you're just going to have to accept it, without any thought to the ramifications of telling people who are out honestly trying to make a living, provide for their families, be good husbands, be good fathers. When you tell people who are doing their level best that either A, it's not good enough, or B, you're part of the problem, what do you expect? And then finally, as a political tactic, the attempt to put walls on the ticket, and that was going to somehow solve all of the problems that had been built up for years, was ridiculous, because it turns out Walls was the last person that men wanted to hear from. And I remember at the beginning of that whole campaign, when they put him on, I sat right here and people were like, oh, they got camouflaged hats. They're going to be wearing them in the deer stands this fall. And I think to your point that you just made, that was not, that idea that it was not formulated by a bunch of dudes who actually go deer hunting. It was come up with by a bunch of people who've never met a dude that actually goes deer hunting. But when you try to put that kind of window dressing on a real communications problem or a real relationship problem, it gets exposed immediately.
No lies.
Well, it's because every time you try to portray Waltz as a normal, everyday man, it was fake as hell. Just like the entire Democrat campaign. It was all fake.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They lost the narrative.
Here's the dirty little secret, Democrats. There's a way of lifting up groups of people together without pushing others down. It's not whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
It's not whack-a-mole.
But that's been the problem. That's been the problem, is going after people, separating us, all of Americans being separated into these little boxes. has been what the left has been doing, and I think people have just grown sick of it. Well, you can't see eye to eye with me because, and I'm just using this example. You can't see eye to eye with me because you're in Tennessee and I'm in Georgia. We'll never see eye to eye. And then they just add more layers of that separation. Well, you're a white male or you're a black female, and you definitely won't see eye to eye. And then they separate it even more. Well, you're a black female that's gay, so you can't see it from the same perspective as I do. And then they separate even more. Well, your family, it goes on and on in this perpetual separation of people. And when people wake up and realize that we're, first of all Americans, we're not these colonialists that came over to the United States. We're natural born citizens of America. We're the indigenous people of America. This is our country.
If you think about it, the left has never gotten away from its roots. And what I mean by that is they continue to segregate.
Yes.
These were the people behind segregation. And they want to continue to segregate. Why? Because they think they can gain political influence or they can make money off of it. Well, and
also people are easier to control. If they're fighting, then they don't see what's actually going on. If you and I are fighting, we tend to not pay any attention to what else is going on around us.
Exactly. It's a political advantage.
Yeah. DNC's bully pulpit didn't work. Right. Exactly. It'll ramp up again. They're already ramping it up, and you've got neocons like Nikki Haley. They're perpetuating the bullshit.
Nikki Haley needs to go take it. Nikki Haley needs to either go take a seat or go make me a sandwich.
Yeah, true. Very true. It has become a constant debate amongst these Democrats and neocons saying we can't figure out why the Democrats didn't win. We can't understand why we didn't win. How come we're not in power?
Right.
Because you keep wanting to separate people apart, and people are saying, no, we're done with your bullshit. We don't want to fight.
Well, here's the thing. I guarantee you that the actual Democrat strategists understood why they lost. It's all these other people that have clung on to it and done their virtue signaling and everything. They're the ones that don't understand why they lost, because they're the ones that were played.
Yes. And they'll be used again. They're being used right now. They're being used right now to stir up discontent among the population. But
hey,
if you look,
midterms are in 2 years. Of course they got to stir it up.
All I can say is I hope they get as much done as they possibly can going into this. I really do. We've got a chance to get this, to right the ship, to get things back on track where we're a prosperous country again. And if the Republicans do what they did last time that they had supermajority, they're going to lose again. They're going to lose that chance.
They've got 18 months to get through what they need to get through. They have 18 months.
Yeah.
And that's a very short period of time. But they're going to have to be aggressive, and they're going to have to stop worrying about, well, we need to reach across the aisle. No, you don't. The American people gave you a mandate. It doesn't matter what the left thinks.
Yeah.
Because if the reverse would have happened, do you think they would blink twice about ignoring Republicans? No.
No, not a bit. It's only gotten, and I see it as getting much worse. Over the next couple of years, and unless the Republicans stand forward and step forward and do something, this is going to turn into a bad situation, because they're going to lose the confidence that they had at one point. Yeah, thanks, Max Lab. I appreciate that. I'll probably cover this tonight. Thanks, I appreciate it. That'll be good. I do have something to show you, but I can't show it to you here.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
All right.
I went through and I remastered some stuff that was pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Like I'm pretty impressed with the outcome of the new update they have. Everybody.
Oh yeah. You told me about that.
Mm-hmm. So we've got tonight I'll probably be doing a little bit of reading. It'll be I don't know how long the stream will be. Last night I had Max Murrah on for a bit. Man, he really loves to go off on a tangent. I love the man to death, but he go off on a tangent. He went off on a tangent. It was like I only got to half of the stuff I was going to do, but Max is wonderful. We had a good conversation afterwards. Really good conversation afterwards. Everybody. I'm gonna probably send you guys over to something really interesting after this. Give me just a second to get that set up so I know where you guys are gonna be going in, and I will actually hopefully be able to let you know where I'm going to send you guys. I don't know who all is streaming today. It looks like we got Hill versus Babyface. Got Cal. Why do you still have an FNL that's been up since like October of 21?
Who, me?
I know you're never going to do. Yeah. Caliber and Character. There's one that's set for an upcoming.
I have no idea.
It's always in there. I'm like, how the hell does that happen?
I don't know.
It's so crazy.
I thought I deleted it, but who knows?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I think it was one of those things where that may have been the night where there was some sort of YouTube thing and we had to stop it. We had to stop it and then start over, and that's why it's still showing up in the queue, and I have no idea how to get rid of it.
That does happen. That I've seen that quite a bit happen. Okay. I see there is a motions hearing, and that's gonna be for what time is that? Mate, that's so weird that it's not showing up. So this should be coming up pretty soon. I'm gonna send you guys over to Baker. It looks like it's coming up pretty soon. So everybody go check that out, and there we go. So weird. I've been having issues with StreamYard again. Everybody, we will see you hopefully tonight. I'm not sure what time I'll be firing it up, but I'll get the stream set up, and just make sure you have your notifications on, and you will get a little bit more of the shizzy tonight. And I guarantee it's going to be fire. It's going to be absolute fire. So everybody, see you very soon. Peace.
Bless your heart. I thought I was the only mentally challenged one here.
Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Early morning, rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy Whiz not small, but we don't care. Morning, Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning, Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning, Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Serious is overrated. read it. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning Whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.